Welcome to Retrotopia, the retro gaming time machine where nostalgia hits harder than a missed jump over a bottomless pit. I'm your host Brian, and this is episode 132, and folks, things are about to get for real. This week we're diving headfirst into a whirlwind of yarn balls, wisecracks, and pure 90s attitude, or so they say, with Bubsy, claws encounters of the furred kind. What could possibly go wrong? Don't answer that one. So let's get ready for some questionable physics, endless quips, and one overconfident bobcat trying to prove that he's the coolest cat in the 16-bit jungle. But before we begin all of that, I do have some plugs to get out of the way, so if you're just here for the episode itself, you can jump about 30 minutes and you'll probably run into the episode proper. But we hope you stick around because we like doing these intros and we have a lot of fun with them. But I'm going to get some plugs out of the way, so before we begin, if you could rate this 5 stars wherever you get your podcast, it helps us grow, and we've been seeing a period of growth right now, so it's been wonderful. So welcome everybody who's joined us. We also have social media. You can find it all at linktree/Retrotopia. It's linktr.ee/Retrotopia. It gives you a link to everything, including our Discord, our TeePublic, and our Dashery store, or you can go to retrotopia.dashery.com where all our merch is. We also have a Patreon, and it is free to join, and when you join for free, you get to take part in the polls, and we got one cooking up right now for our annual RPG poll. We're trying to do once a year. That should be coming up fairly soon. We also let you chat with the host, as you can message us on there. You can write in about the game of the week. You can write to the host on the 9-Bit Banter Box. We also have a couple of other shows, including Quick Play, which is kind of a short review series of either games that people from the hero tier have asked us to do, or games that we have decided to do but don't think we can make a full episode out of. We also get Retro Bites. That's where myself and Joe get together and we do a monthly topic, and we are starting to come up with better ideas, and it's starting to cook. So check that out. You get it 15 days early, and you also get an extra topic, and it's going well, and we're trying to keep adding a video segment for the Patreon only exclusive. So if you're part of Patreon, you should get that, or you will get that. You could also join the Hero tier for as little as $2 a month, and from that you can select a game for a host review on Quick Play. You also get the Patreon Hero tier only New Game Plus, where I just released Assassin's Creed Mirage, and I'm looking for to do Mouse PI for Hire as soon as I finish that game. And you also get a shout out like our newest hero, Mr. Savage Bush. And I apologize, you joined literally a minute after Alan did the intro last week, so we had to wait this week to shout you out. So if you're wondering where that was, that's why it took us a week to do it. Welcome aboard. All those perks I just told you, they are available to you right now. And anybody else who joins the Hero tier. But now that all the plugs are out of the way, it's time we give you, the audience, a chance to write into the host on what we call the 9-Bit Banter Box, which is culturally elegant. So first up we have Cyber Hooli. It says, Bri the Rye Guy, would you want a Chrono Trigger movie, or do you think they would just fuck it up? Also, live action or animated? I'll answer the second part of that question first. Animated 9 out of 10 times works better with video games. As for would they fuck it up, of course they would. They'd probably give it to Uwe Boll, who fucks up every video game adaptation he makes. But no, I don't want to see a Chrono Trigger movie. I want to see not so much like an update. I just want to see like a graphically polished update of Chrono Trigger in that 2.5 HD, whatever they call it, Dragon Quest style. That's about it. I don't need a 3D remake. I don't need any big flashy thing. I don't need quality of life improvements. There wasn't a lot to improve on that game. Just maybe throw in the Singing Mountain, which was taken out of the original game, and then update the graphics, and then I'd be the happiest kid on the block or in the neighborhood. So yeah, no, don't want to see a Chrono Trigger movie. As weird as that might sound for my Chrono Trigger fandom. Thanks, Hooli. Coming up next, we have Munchie, who's the first time he's wrote into me. Welcome, Munchie. It says, Mr. Canada himself. Yes, sir. Seeing as you are deep in school for game design, I am curious if you could have unlimited resources, what kind of game would you create? I imagine some sort of JRPG where it's all about building a party to go drinking. Actually, that sounds like a banger of a game. Turn-based JRPG, like your menu options are drink, chug, sip, use magic spells where you pee and get your sobriety back a little bit, eat garlic bread to, line your stomach, all that kind of good stuff. Great game idea. Now here's the problem I'm having with the game design courses I'm in. Like at first I was doing game design proper, now I'm doing game art. I don't really have an idea. And I think that's starting to hurt me because I have to make up something at the beginning of the semester and I have to go with it because I can't really continue flip-flopping in my mind. So that's what I've been doing. However, nothing has like sparked this super idea. I do have like a couple of fleshling ideas there, but nothing I've actually worked out. And I think I might do that this summer, is try to work out something that I could build off of. Biggest problem is I really like to have a back and forth with somebody about idea forming, like brainstorming, because it really helps me process stuff and see the flaws in what I'm doing. And I think it's a better process to have more than one mind, because if you don't share an idea, you don't see the flaws in it because you have those glowy, glossy eyes of happiness when something works out. So I like anything I do, I like to get somebody else's opinion. And normally I'll send it to my brother, and he's pretty good at critiquing stuff. So it's helped me improved a lot, and I do send some of the ideas I have to the boys, and of course they don't always critique. Sometimes they just like fluff my balls, which is fine, but at the same time, I do like when somebody finds a flaw in my logic and my happiness. Other than that, if I had to build a game, I think the first idea I'm going to go with is either a 2D or a third-person platforming game. I'm currently running through the Unreal tutorial that you can find online, and it's kind of going through a 3D puzzle game where you have to unlock doors and keys and stuff like that, just so you can learn the mechanics. But I might use that as something to build off of and start to apply a theme to it and start building characters in a world around that. So yeah, that's the hardest part, coming up with an idea. And some of these people who come up with these banger of ideas, I'm super jealous of them. Thanks very much, Munchie. Next up we have The Big Deal, who says, since you brought up your favorite, or one of your favorite whiskeys on a recent episode, how about a quick ranking of your top, let's say 5? I enjoy Maker's Mark, Bullet Bourbon, and Four Roses, along with American Honey as my guilty pleasure. What other recommendations can you give? Well, I can only speak for what's available here in Ontario and Canada. Whiskey, yeah, I do enjoy good whiskey, but I enjoy it very spaced out. I'm not a heavy whiskey drinker. I'll have like a glass once a month at most, and normally that's just for me to sit down and sip on something. Maker's Mark, we do have this here. Biggest problem is there is currently a little bit of a kerfuffle happening between Canada and the United States, and they've taken all American booze off our shelves in Ontario. So we don't have a lot of our classic favorite, Jack Daniels and stuff like that. It's just not available here at the current moment. So Maker's Mark is something we used to have. I still have a bottle downstairs, but we ended up using that as a cooking whiskey, or a cooking rye, or whatever you want to call it. Whiskey with an E, American whiskey. Or is it Irish whiskey? I can't remember. Either way, Maker's Mark is just something we like to cook with. Not something I particularly enjoy drinking personally, but I think I've kind of made it something I don't like. So my top 5 in no particular order are Lagavulin 16, which is probably number 1. This is the Ron Swanson of whiskeys. This is the one that came off of Parks and Recreation. I bought a bottle. It was expensive. Had a glass. Very smoky, very peat, I think is the word I'm looking for. Really good. Definitely sit down, sip, and take your time to enjoy this kind of whiskey. Next is I go to this place all the time called the Royal Oak. I'll call it my local bar. It's just down the road from me. They have half-price wings when the Senators play, so I eat way too many wings. They were celebrating their 45th year, I think it was, and they ended up commissioning Dundurn Distillery, I believe it was, to make a 45-year-old whiskey, or obviously they didn't commission them to make the 45-year-old whiskey, but they had a 45-year-old whiskey that they put up on the shelves there and was selling for a ridiculously large amount of money. But the bartender and me got along pretty well, and he gave me a glass to try out, and it was fantastic. So yeah, that is a good whiskey if you're ever in the Ottawa area. Crown Royal XO, it's a little bit higher end Crown Royal, unlike the Swill, which I'll get into later, which is the bottom of the barrel Crown Royal. XO, I think, is the step below XR. XR is an award-winning whiskey. It costs about like $1,700 Canadian a bottle. This one is a cheaper, like $75. You also got Weiser's 24 year. Anything over like 16 to 18 years, I always find to have a really good flavor of whiskey. And of course, you got 40 Creek Double Barrel, a little bit cheaper than some of the other whiskeys I mentioned, but always a good whiskey to try. Now, if you just want to get fucked up here in Canada, you have like the four staples. You have Canadian Club, which is your pretty much your rye and Coke staple. You have Alberta Premium Whiskey, which is akin to paint thinner. You have Jack Daniel's No. 7, which is the cheap brand of Jack Daniel's, which again you can't get here right now. And of course you have the bottom of the barrel Crown and Royal, and saying Crown and Coke is actually a phrase here to order something. So yeah, those are my whiskey choices. Come on up, we'll go grab a couple of bottles and we'll see just how fucked up we get. Biggest problem with whiskey, if I get drunk off it, I want to fight. And it's not even anger fighting, I just want to get into a fight. So prepare for that. Thank you very much. Next up, we got Brother Retro, says, Fine Brian. So I'm halfway through Final Fantasy IV, and it's been really fun so far. I took a break for a few days, and I'm slowly picking it back up and plan on sticking it out to the end. So for my question, what is a solid, underrated SNES JRPG that I could try next? Not Chrono, not Final Fantasy VI, but something a little more obscure. The Lufia games have always intrigued me, but I want your thoughts on the matter. Definitely you have to play Final Fantasy VI, Chrono, the Super Mario RPG, Earthbound, all those types of games that basically you know about. So I'm just going to assume you're playing those. I would pick Illusion of Gaia as one. It's very popular. It's a Zelda-like action RPG, but the story is really good. The music is outstanding, and outside of like a few pace-breaking moments, the game is just left to right fast-paced. Oh, damn. If you hear that cut, I just had to cough real bad, and I was choking on my own cough. Anyway, so yeah, the Illusion of Gaia would be the first one. Secret of Mana would be my next choice. I know I was just with Remember the Game on Secret of Evermore. I would prefer Secret of Mana over Secret of Evermore personally, but either of those games would be a good time. Follow up to Illusion of Gaia, where it's technically part of what they call the Soul Blazer trilogy, but none of the games are actually related. Is Terra Enigma. This one came out only in Europe or PAL regions, so I didn't get to play this until much later in my life when I could finally find a ROM of it. Definitely plays a lot like Illusion of Gaia with a couple of quirks, but great music, great gameplay, definitely worth checking out. Lufia 2 is the game you're thinking of. That one was brought to my attention by my good friend Darth Emick and his brother Jay Nasty, who I believe both listen, or if they don't, they're still my friends. But I played this game for the first time not too long ago, and outside of the one section where it has like a glitch that can almost be game breaking if you don't follow a walkthrough, and it happens on the cartridge, not just in the ROM, this game was outstanding. In fact, I might even push Lufia 2 over the other games I've mentioned so far, just because this is a puzzle-based game with RPG elements. It's just a good time all around. A little bit more obscure, you got Star Ocean. You'll have to get this one on a translated ROM. Star Ocean is a great RPG series if you want to get into RPGs. Somebody from Retro Hangover named Chris Copeland always talks about Ys. It's spelled Y-S, and you can get a couple of them on the Super Nintendo. I've never played them personally. My wife has played some of the later games. She loves them, so that's good enough for me to put them on this list. And if you really want something obscure, it was a Japanese-only release, but you can get it on the Switch right now as a 2.5 HD remake. It is Live Alive or Live Alive or Live Alive. Either way, it's a decent RPG. We have an episode in the archives. Sam didn't really like the game all that much, but I really did, so put it around the middle of that and you might have a good time. So those would be my recommendations. Let me know how it goes. Next up, we got Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, who says, you are stranded on a desert island. What item would you bring? Let's say half the teleporter from Luca's exhibit in Chrono Trigger. That way I could just teleport off the island. Only problem is I don't have any power, so I now just have a giant machine of nothing. So I guess things maybe I'd like to bring would be a Swiss Army knife. You know, I was Boy Scout. bring a Swiss Army knife, you can do anything with that. You get a little saw, you get a knife, you get a toothpick there when you're done eating your coconuts, which I'm going to assume there's one, palm tree on the entire island. I'm not thinking like a big island here. I'm thinking like one of those tiny ones, which of course means I would need a case of beer because I'm on a beach side and I got a nice breeze. So bring a case of beer there, except for it might get warm if it's a tropical island. It wouldn't work. How about a manual instruction called How to Survive on a Desert Island and 100 Tips for Financial Success by Stephen King, I guess. I don't know, I can't think of an author off the top of my head. Ruined my own joke. Anyways, yeah, a survival manual. I actually have one. I think it was gifted to me by my buddy Chris, and it's been sitting in my book collection, and I thumb through it every so often. It has all these really weird survival tips. So you can find them. Always carry one in your pocket just in case. Actually, if I went on a cruise, I might actually pack one just for shits and giggles. Finally, I don't know if none of that works out, but let's bring Joe to the island. I think it's time we finish our rivalry for good, and there's no better time than when we're on an island with nothing to do but kill each other with coconuts. So Joe, pack your bags. We're doing this. It's all good fun though, but I think I'm kind of losing my own train of thought here. In all honesty, I would bring just like a sharp knife with a sturdy handle. Especially if the island's a bit bigger, because a knife is basically useful for anything you want to do. You can hunt with it, you can cut things, you can make rope, you can hammer with the sturdy handle. So yeah, my true honest to God answer for you would be a sharp knife with a sturdy handle. Everything else was just me brainstorming earlier and trying to make a joke out of it, and I don't think I landed it. Sorry about that, but you get what you get. Thank you. Next up, we got Blue Yoshi 94, who says, "Hello, Brian. I haven't written in a while, so I wanted to ask you, as a Canadian, which you prefer, ice hockey or Blades of Steel?" Fantastic question. I have a quick play on that in the Patreon archives there. I actually did a ice hockey versus Blades of Steel. I don't know if I actually did justice to it because I was still trying to learn or teach myself how to properly review something without following notes verbatim, and I don't think it landed as well as I was hoping it did. It's not one of my favorite episodes, but it's still a good episode. Go check it out, and you could hear my full thoughts on it. But the truthful answer is I kind of go back and forth on these two. I mean, Blades of Steel is aimed more towards simulation hockey, where ice hockey is based around the international hockey system and has very cartoony. So I always remember Blades of Steel for the fighting. Like, you just run up to somebody, all you do is bump into them, and eventually it starts a fight, and you end up in this, like, first-person rock'em sock'em robot fighting system. And not to mention, he makes pass, he shoots, he makes pass, he makes a pass. All the friggin' time. Oh, I love that. That we just pass the puck just to make that sound, and it'd be like our own mixtape. In ice hockey, however, everybody knows ice hockey. You pick your country that you live in. I always chose Canada because, go Canada. And you pick your team, and everybody has a different idea because you can pick the skinny, the medium, the skinny, the medium, and the fat hockey players. Skinny guy is fast but weak. Medium is all around good, the Mario of the game, I guess. And the fat guy is slow, but he's a powerhouse. So you throw the fat guy on defense because you only get 4 players. You put 2 mediums on the wings, and then you put the skinny guy in the center. And the skinny guy's goal is simply to power through and take the shot. Where the medium guys there, they can play both D and forward, and the big fat guy there is just to knock over anybody who comes towards the net. So, depending on my mood, if I get back to the actual question itself, I can go back and forth in these. If I had to pick one with a gun to my head right now, I'd pick ice hockey. Ice hockey just a little more cartoony, it's a little more fun. Hopefully that answers your question with a little bit of extra, extra slice of cheese on the sandwich that is this segment. Thank you very much for the question. Next up, we have Philip, my mouth with farts. He says, "Hi, Brian. There's going to be a new action RPG being made, and you are the character. What kind of character are you? Are you a dive straight into battle tank, or hide in the shadows stealth specialist, or possibly a spell slinger from a distance? What is Brian going to be as a game character?" If I was to make a game character as I make characters in games, I would focus mostly on stealth. Every game that gives me stealth as an option is where I tend to lean towards. Like, Ghost of Tsushima gives you the option to play it as a samurai or be a sneaky ninja guy. I always sneak in. I enjoy being stealth over just straight up action. I like the slow, methodical gameplay. So I would make myself a stealth character. Not only is that good for a video game, but it'd be great for real life, because I could also just like sneak out of situations I don't want to be in, and yeah, people wouldn't even be able to see me because, you know, I'm just a shadow disappearing into the darkness. So yeah, so there's my answer. Skyrim, same thing. Elder Scrolls, all of them. I always play the dark elf with a bow and arrow. I think like everybody does. Don't really get in on the magic on those games, but I always start out saying this is going to be my wizard, and I always end up with it not being, and I sneak my way through everything. So there's my answer to that. Thank you very much. Finally, we have Blaine the Hoagie Man, who says, "Hello, Brian. My question is, what would you say is the top 5 Family Guy episodes in your opinion?" I went through a list of Family Guy episodes just to kind of give myself a refresher, just like I have a list somewhere. I'm not going to say where. It's Disney Plus. I went through Disney Plus and kind of thumbed through all the episodes. So here's my honorable mentions as I went through. One is Mixed Stroke. I found this one hilarious. Peter eats so many cheeseburgers that he ends up paralyzed from a stroke. They did a Deus Ex Machina at the episode where he's cured by stem cells within seconds of walking into the stem cell place. All around the episode was a good time. I laugh at that one. Of course, you have Blue Harvest, the Star Wars parody. I don't really need to say much about it. If you haven't seen it and you like this type of humor, it's really well done. It's probably one of their best episodes. I think it's like over 4 episodes that they do it and like 1 movie. They did the other Star Wars, didn't land as well, although they are still a good time for the trilogy, but Blue Harvest was the best. And of course, one of the classics is PTV, where Peter starts his own network, but the FCC gets called in, takes offense, and then eventually starts censoring real life. So this one has that song about the FCC that, I don't know, is very catchy and every so often pops into my mind, like right now. But let's count them down. Let's count down my 5 favorite Family Guy episodes. First up, at number 5, we have Yug Yum Laugh, Season 11, Episode 4. That's Family Guy backwards, if you didn't realize that, which it took me way too long to figure that out. Because this episode is where Brian keeps bringing chicks into the time machine, which eventually causes Stewie to find out and the time machine to go haywire, and it starts reversing time. So the entire episode is about everybody moving backwards, aging backwards, and you see some origins like the greased up deaf guy, where how it started and all this kind of stuff, and it goes through classic jokes of Family Guy, and it also has the backwards chicken fight, which always has me laughing. I love that. It's probably my favorite of the chicken fights. Like, if you ask me right now, top 5 chicken fights, because I think there have been over 5, that would be number 1, followed by probably the Homer versus Peter Simpsons crossover at number 2, which I count as a chicken fight. So yeah, that was my number 5. Number 4 is Lego My Mego, Season 10, Episode 20. Of course, this one was done in the style of Taken, where Meg goes off to France for school and she's kidnapped by a human smuggling ring. So it all ends up with Brian and Stewie going to France to save her, and, you know, like Dracois, Noir, and stuff like that comes out of these jokes. A lot of good jokes, and there's this, it all culminates with this car chase, where they use car chase GPS, and they have a bunch of inconsistent camera angles and stuff like that, and they really play off that as they get up to the boat where Meg is being held. Really well done set of jokes. And then there's a point where Brian gets a gun. I think Stewie gives him a gun, and Brian like finally shoots like bad guy. He goes, "Oh, it's like a video game." And then he starts shooting all the bad guys, and another boat's passing by, and he takes a shot and kills somebody. He goes, "Later, dink." And I use the later dink like phrase a lot in my life, and this is where it came from. So this is why this is my number 4. Number 3 is To Love and Die in Dixie, Season 3, Episode 12, where Chris observes a crime and that gets the family sent down to the south as part of witness protection. And from there, Peter and Brian, like, they take on the lives of the Dukes of Hazzard boys, and then they pimp out the station wagon as General Lee. A lot of great jokes in this, and of course, like, one of them I really love is when they try to jump out of the way of something and then pauses midair, and the narrator comes in and is like, will the Duke boys be able to get out of this? And then it goes to commercial, just like the Dukes of Hazzard TV show once did. So that's a really great moment. And then one of my favorite jokes that pays off later in the series is when Peter tells Brian to jump in the car, but the window's up, so Brian just like goes head first into it and crumbles to the ground like a sack of potatoes. They brought that back like probably a season later. It was really good. Kind of like the Peter skinning his knee joke and then Lois skinning her boob later on. So yeah, that's number 3. Number 2 is Stewie kills Lois and Lois kills Stewie. This is a 2-parter, season 6, episodes 4 and 5. So Brian kind of goads Stewie into killing Lois, not as he was trying to get Lois killed. It's just he told Stewie that, you've given up on your plans of killing her. So Peter and Lois go on a cruise. Stewie goes there, kills Lois, who flies over the side of the ship, and then there's a big investigation, which eventually leads to Peter being blamed. At the end of the episode, they're in a court scene there, and Lois shows back up and ends up accusing Stewie. That's the end of that episode. So the subsequent episode is basically how Lois realizes that she needs to be the one to kill Stewie, and the two have a good epic fight. So it all ends up being a simulation of Stewie's, which I found to be kind of a bad part, but I do understand why they did it, because it would have changed the dynamic of the entire show. Like, there was really no way out of that without doing it that way. But it was still a really good series of episodes. And my number 1 episode for Family Guy is Road to the Multiverse, season 8, episode 1. So Stewie gets a device. Of course, he has that big pig that he wins a pig contest with at the beginning. And he shows Brian that he can travel through the multiverse, and bringing Brian along for the ride. Definitely a lot of jokes. You got Hot Mag there. You get the idea that poop is teleported out, which they end up going to that dimension and seeing their poop and all this kind of stuff. And you get to a world where humans are dogs and dogs are humans, and Stewie shits on the lawn and takes like a little thin napkin and hands it to Brian, goes, pick up my poo. Good times. Anyways, that was just a fun episode. I think it was really well done. They did explore a lot of possibilities of what can be done with the multiverse. They did like that little Disney-esque scene there where Peter's singing, and all of a sudden they turn out, Mort shows up and they put all this hate on Jews, and it's just like a little poke at Disney there. So the jokes landed really well with me. I found it funny, even though some of the people might find it a bit offensive. It was a different time. So those are my top 5 episodes, and that's going to do it for the 9-Bit Banter Box. Thank you, everybody, for writing in. I can't believe I took this long to answer all these questions. I said move 30 minutes down the line to see the episode, and we still got about 10 minutes of stuff to go through. So if you jumped ahead and you're hearing this, sorry. But speaking of things we have to do, it's time to dust off the Retrotopia monkey paw and play our game show. We play weekly. Choose one, lose one.
Ladies and gentlemen, roll up and choose your power-up from the game of the week. You pick a power, we pick a consequence. It's choose one, lose one, the game where everyone's a loser.
Alright, first up we have Brother Retro says, I want the power to have my own episode of Retrotopia. Very well, buddy. You get your own episode. It's all yours, but you gotta take Joe with it. No takebacks. He'll be waiting for you in the lobby. Next up, we have Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, who says, I would like to be as fast as Sonic and as deep as Mario. Okay, well, you are slow to start, just like Bubsy, because that's the theme of this. But once you get going, like Bubsy. And as for stopping, well, you stop like a 250-pound plumber with grease on his shoes, and that causes you to slide past your destination no matter where you're going. Also, you can't just walk at a consistent speed. You constantly accelerate until you hit your max speed. So even if you're going to the bathroom, which is just down the hall, by the time you get to the bathroom, you're already going to be clocking in at 70, 80 miles an hour. Top speed, let's say it's about 276 miles per hour. That's a good speed. So yeah, you're constantly going to be running into stuff. Sorry. Next up, we have Blue Yoshi says, I want an exclamation mark on my top, please. I misread this originally. I was thinking like one above your head, like you'd see in like Metal Gear Solid. I get it. You just want a shirt with an exclamation mark. go to the store. I'm pretty sure you could find one. Screw it. I'm going to look online. If I find a shirt with an exclamation mark, you owe me a Coke. Shirt with Oh, there you go. I don't even have to finish filling it. Oh, yeah, they're there. You can get them on Amazon. I think it's time we put that on the merch store there. We'll make our own shirt with our own exclamation mark. Proprietary Retrotopia stuff, and you're forced to wear it. Fool, wear our stuff. That's your punishment somehow. Next up, we have Blaine the Hoagie Man, who says, my wish is for Brian to have 3 talking bobcats and oversized shirts that all say all their catchphrases once each a day, but alternating words between them and to creepy circus music. And Sam gets 6 of those and Alan gets 9. Well, talked to the boys about this one, and we just decided to give you a gift of 18 talking bobcats as a celebration of your podcast, Retro Riders, hitting 50 episodes. Congratulations, buddy. The bobcats are yours. Boom. Next up, we have Cyber Hooli. He says, I want to be a poorly animated cartoon cat with bad jokes. You don't get to look animated, so you stay looking as Hooli. But every move you make is like Bubsy, and every time you answer anyone, you make terrible jokes like Bubsy. This causes you to lose friends, and family just won't return your calls. So, get what you asked for. Next up, we have Munchie, who says, could I choose to go back in time? Could I choose to get back the time I put into this game? Sure. You end up in an infinite loop, however, where you go back and don't remember playing this game, so you see it and think, why the hell not? Only to end up at this point in time where I send you back and the cycle repeats for all eternity. You never are able to change anything in the course between playing the game and now. So you are stuck in that loop, and your life is as it is. I imagine it's a fantastic life. Next up, we have Blobby, who says, yarn balls. All the ding-dang yarn balls. You get them. But it also comes with the Cat Lady starter kit of 100 cats, and you have to knit sweaters for all of them after naming them. Really bad thing is that you get a new yarn ball every 15 minutes or so you have to knit fast to get rid of the yarn, otherwise it'll consume your house and eventually the planet, and we're all doomed. And finally, we have The Big Deal, who says, I'll let Brian pick both what I choose and what I lose. What could possibly go wrong? Well, you gain the ability to come visit Canada. You know, you get to cross the border. Nobody's going to stop you. Cavity search is optional. Just check the box. However, the Canada you enter is the Canada level from Bubsy, this game. So you might never want to come back. So that's it. That is all I have for Choose One, Lose One. Thank you, everybody, for writing in. Thank you for all the messages this week. I always love doing this, and I'm getting better at talking because I'm going way over my time. But I'm going to give myself a little bit of a break now because we got Alan with the Gentleman's Interlude.
At first glance, Bubsy and Claw's Encounters of the Third Kind seems like a dazzling jewel of early 90s platforming ambition. A bold, fur-covered challenger to the titans of its day. Developed and published by Accolade and spearheaded by designer Michael Berlin, the game launched in 1993 for the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, arriving in North America around May to July of that year before later ports, including a Windows version in 1997. And what an arrival it is! Bubsy himself bursts onto the screen with boundless energy, quips, and a truly inspiring confidence that anything might go wrong. The levels are vibrant, sprawling, and filled with yarn balls. So many yarn balls, suggesting a depth and collectathon richness that surely rivals anything from its contemporaries. The developers even aimed to blend the speed of Sonic with the depth of Mario, which sounds not just ambitious, but practically visionary. At first, you'll be swept up in the momentum. Bubsy leaps, Bubsy glides, Bubsy abruptly perishes after brushing against something that may or may not have been dangerous. No matter, back to the start, because repetition builds mastery, right? The one-hit deaths add tension, real tension, constant tension, relentless, ever-present tension that begins to feel less like excitement and more like a low-grade existential dread. Still, there's charm here. The cheerful art, the upbeat presentation. Yes, absolutely. This is the future of platforming. You'll just need to adjust, learn the level design, memorize the invisible hazards, except that depth perception is more of a suggestion than a rule. Eventually, though, a realization creeps in, as unavoidable as another fall into a pit. Perhaps the ambition slightly exceeded the execution. Perhaps the controls are floaty. Perhaps Bubsy's endless enthusiasm masks a void. But no, stay strong. This is a classic, a bold experiment. Please, just one more life. I can make this. No, please don't make me play this again. Please, I beg of you.
The fun part about that is there is actually no break because Alan sends me the interlude and I splice it in later, so I literally pause for half a second just to create a gap. Thanks, Alan, as always, though. We do love your Gentleman's interludes. It really adds a little bit of class to this otherwise classless joint we call Retrotopia. So we're going to get into your comments before we get into the game because that is what we do in that order. And that transition was terrible, but I'm almost at the end and my voice is disappearing. So we have first up, Brother Retro says, it's a platformer on the SNES. How bad can it be, right? Right? Well, we haven't done the game chat yet, so you're just going to have to wait because even I don't know how bad it's going to be. I have an idea, though. Next up, we have Blaine the Hoagie Man who says, I once had a cousin who gaslighted me into thinking this was a good game. It was not. And you don't talk to that cousin anymore, I assume, because that is criminal. That is very, very criminal. Finally, we have Munchie, who says, oh god, this abomination, a game that plays like Sonic but wants to be Mario. I was so deceived by this growing up and never got far. Yeah, I don't think anybody ever gets far. I mean, we'll get into it. We've had our little private DMs going on about this game for the last week or so. But I think it's time. I crank on a little of that Bubsy classic music here and we get into the game chat proper. I've been going on for quite a bit of time now, and I think it's time for the three of us to do it. So thank you everyone who wrote in. It's always great to hear your thoughts down on the week. And we're going to be talking about Bubsy in Claw's Encounter of the Furred Kind. Developed by Accolade, who deserves none. Published by Accolades, who deserves none. And released in May 1993 on the SNES and Megasys later that year. Thank you for listening, and we hope you all enjoy the show. Alright, it's time to talk about Bubsy, and joining me is future cat lady Sam and one of his cats, Alan. How are you guys?
Perfect.
You get to be my cat.
Episode over. We've hit it on a high note.
Let's just leave it there. For the love of fucking God, please. Let's just leave it there because I don't want to go any further.
I would take such good care of Alan as a cat.
I think I would like to be petted by Sam, I think.
Yeah.
And that's as far as we're going to go with that one.
Well, we're already off the rails on this one. So we're talking Bubsy, and how do I put this gently? We're not looking forward to it. We have been kind of putting this off, and I know for myself, I just stopped playing the game. Like, I've not disliked a game so much that I couldn't push through the end, but this game brought me no joy. And if you ever read one of those books that tells you to throw things out that don't bring you joy, well, I didn't even buy this game, and I'm going to throw it out. What's your history with the game?
I did buy this fucking game.
I bought. So I don't know how this ended up on the dock. I mean, all right, whatever. My history with the game is that I don't have one. Like, I remember seeing Bubsy back in the day in like adverts and stuff like that, and it was part of a slew of these mascot platformers that were a dime a dozen back in the day, and I was just like, yeah, okay, kind of looks cool, but maybe I'll get round to it one day. Should have been quite telling that none of the Sonic the Comics or Sega magazines or anything else had any comic strips about Bubsy. Nobody wanted to touch this fucking thing, so I was just like, okay, fine. Then somehow it gets on the docket for this show, and I don't know who did it. I've got a bone to pick with them. And I actually went out and bought this game for the Super Nintendo, not realizing that I have it already on Nintendo Switch Online. So I spent hard-earned money that I will never fucking get back buying this game. And yeah, that's my history with it. I want my money back.
Oh, you poor bastard. Sam, make us feel better.
I had not heard of this game when it came out, so this is my first time playing it too. I've heard of it since, obviously, and know of its reputation a bit. But yeah, that was it. I did not buy it, so hooray.
I love how chilled out.
Smart man.
I love how chilled out Sam is.
Well, I mean, I didn't buy it. I didn't play it without, like, I played it with the ability to rewind and save state. You know, I took it for what it was. I didn't let it get me angry. I just was like, yeah, this is what it is. I've never played it before, and now I am. And it is a game that I played.
Exists.
Yes.
Yeah. It exists is basically a great way to talk about it, because there's a story of Bubsy, but if you want to read it, you can look up the Super Nintendo Player's Manual, and it actually has a comic of the story setting it up, and it is so dumb. Essentially, aliens who have this fetish for yarn find Bubsy's planet, and they're like, we got to go to Earth and go get all the yarn, and then they fly to Earth in their yarn spaceships. Meanwhile, Bubsy's protecting the animals because, you know, he's fucking useless. And then he has to fight the aliens. He gets sucked up by them or something like that, and then he has to fight them and get all the yarn back for Earth, because apparently that's a thing. That's how this whole game starts.
I heard that
I'm not going to get into it.
The whole thing is that this cunt has the largest supply of yarn on the planet, and he collects yarn, and the aliens are coming to take yarn, and he's just like, well, they're going to come and take my yarn. So he decides, of his own volition, to get involved in this fight for no other reason than he doesn't want some... And I get it, you know. I mean, if somebody was coming to Earth and they wanted to steal all the video games, like, I'd kick off. I'd do it a lot better than this, but...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Worst part about this is they try to make him a fourth wall breaking person or cat in the manual there, so they try to make a joke how they want to get Stephen King to write for it, and, you know, the story falls flat. It is not even worth getting into the story because, quite honestly, it's simplistic. Aliens come, aliens steal yarn, and Bubsy has to get yarn back and kill aliens, and that's the entirety of the whole thing, and he does so with really dumb jokes at the beginning of every level. But let's talk about how he moves first, because this is the part that I think will make us the angriest. So who wants to go first? Who wants to talk about their glorious experience getting this dumb shit to move?
Oh boy,
Sam, go ahead, buddy.
You want me to start on this? I was just like completely thrown when I started playing this game, because it's like, yeah, I know it's not considered the best game and whatnot. You know, I've played platformers that, you know, aren't Sonic or aren't Mario or whatever, but this one was special. I could not make heads or tails of what this freaking cat was supposed to be doing. It's like you jump and sometimes he'll fling himself too far, or like you'll land and he's slippy, you know, like the platforming always seems to kind of pull you back to the left for some reason. And I noticed it on the train level, and I thought, you know, maybe this is some weird physics thing where like the train is moving, and so like, you know, you're kind of like moving forward but getting pulled back a little bit because of whatever momentum going the opposite direction. I'm like, all right, I can accept that, I guess. And then I get to the next level, and it's like a static environment, and it's like, oh no, it's just continuously pulling left for some reason.
You thought the developers actually thought about physics.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, whoops. I guess that was
Quit having high hopes for these guys.
Fool me once.
Whereas the thing that really gets me is somebody mentioned it in the intro that he wants to run like Sonic but jump like Mario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he does neither well.
He does
Right.
neither.
The thing that gets me is he has this slow acceleration up to his full running speed. And when he gets up to his full running speed, from that point on, he takes forever to stop, and you hit everything. And as soon as you hit something, like pixel touches another pixel,
hit kill.
he dies.
One hit kill.
Why
Yeah.
in the fuck? This game wants to go fast, but every time you get ahead of Steam, there is literally some gotcha bullshit that just leaps in from the... Because it's screen drags. I don't care, it's screen drags, so you are never...
Yeah.
You can never respond fast enough in this game to actually get out of harm's way. And yet everything... The hitboxes are fucked. Because if you even brush up against the fucking aura of an enemy, like, you're going to lose a life. But it just seems like when you try and attack them, maybe you'll get them, maybe you won't. And... the controls in this game are just so bad.
Yeah, and when you're not running fast, he handles like a dump truck.
I don't understand.
Like,
I thought my controller was broken.
Right.
I
That's not a
don't
good
know
thing to
how
say about
they
a
were
game,
able
right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, have I got
But
drift?
I don't know how they made a pixelated character feel heavy.
Oh.
Is it just me, or does it feel like you're trying to move around like a box full of bricks?
Yeah, it's like it's
in a-
constantly working
in a
against
gale.
you. Yeah.
Honestly, every jump you try and pull one way or the other, and it's just like, no matter which direction you want to be going, it's like there's a gale force wind pushing you back the other way, and I'm just like, what? The momentum it just ruins this whole experience.
Yeah.
And it already sucks.
Sam, you're talking about that train level. Do you want to like expand on like how that game or that level particularly fucked you over for movement?
No, not really. No, I'm kidding. I do.
No, that wasn't an acceptably appropriate
Yeah,
answer.
no further comments. No, it just it was weird because I don't know, like the train level in particular, and also like I guess there was a little bit of that same kind of concept in that carnival where you can hop onto like a roller coaster cart and it'll like take you, but like trying to jump out of it, like your momentum is either completely arrested and you don't go anywhere and then you just fall, or you get flung like way further or higher than you want to. And I don't understand. I've never played a platformer. Maybe there are examples of this. But like a mascot platformer, I'm not talking like an action adventure platformer, but like a mascot platformer, I've never experienced one where you take fall damage.
Oh.
Like that's just, and it seems completely arbitrary. Like sometimes he'll just get like launched straight up in the air and then come down because there's nowhere to land and then die. So it's just like, and it all happens so fast.
But there's zero consistency.
Like
No.
You do have a float mechanic where you're supposed to be able to kind of glide yourself down, but first off, kept forgetting I had that, and secondly, it didn't always work.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just
And
drop like a brick out of the sky.
but it's just like Sam said, sometimes you'll hit these springs and just be flung into the air and land just fine. And it just seems there's a really specific amount of falling that you can do before fall damage kicks in, and I'm just like, why? Why in a game that's this fast? I mean, I understand falling into water, falling down bottomless pits and stuff like that. That's platforming 101. But like, why in a fast-paced action sort of mascot whatever fucking platformer are you just having this inconsistent fall damage that sometimes you can survive if you're lucky? It's just so weird.
Yeah. And I actually used the rewind quite a bit just to kind of like get not just to like cheat or get through the game. I mean, it helped because I didn't have enough time to like get good at this game. I don't know if you ever truly can.
No.
I just would like hit the rewind just to see like, okay, well, whatever just happened was ridiculous. Let's rewind and see like what would I have had to have done to make that jump, or or find where I was supposed to go instead of like falling to my death, or landing on something that apparently hurts you, stuff like that. And it's just like sometimes I'd have to try it over and over again, like a few times. It's like, that's not good gameplay where, I mean, we have the ability to quick rewind. Alan, you didn't because you played it on a Super Nintendo. But like, if you're playing this and you want to replay a level and it's like, okay, I got to this point that I struggled with again. You could potentially struggle at any point for any reason. There's no like, I'm going to watch out for this jump so that I can practice it, and figure it out for next time. Like there really doesn't feel like a way to do that. Yeah.
No, it's constantly the same thing. Like if you go hit the same enemy twice, you're never going to hit him exactly the same way because the way he moves really hampers you from learning patterns and stuff like that. And
right.
The levels are convoluted. Like there's a quick way to go from left to right, but a lot of times you end up going through all these doors and they lead you to random places. So now you're kind of lost. And the only thing you really know is you have to keep going right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even then, it's like I said, it's designed. It's kind of designed to encourage you to go fast and immediately punishes you for doing so. And I can't tell you the number of times that I stuck a jump only for like a split second later for Bubsy just to decide, you know what, I'd rather just fall to my death and just slip off. Like it wasn't I didn't overshoot. It wasn't a case of pressing the button. It's literally landing the jump and then he just decided, nah, and just fell off. And just to clarify, like I got this on the Super Nintendo, but I actually played it because I needed for time to play it on the Switch. And the only time that I save stated was because I wasn't dealing... The number of times you die and game over, I wasn't dealing with the password system, which, in its defense, is not the worst password system in the world if you can find the options menu. It's there, it's not advertised. Just right from the off, just pissing me off. But yeah, so I would just... Get to the start of a level, quick save, and that would be my starting point, simply so I didn't have to deal with all of that bullshit again. And let me just say, I am that is about 10 hours of my life I will never get back, and I am the idiot for not taking advantage. Please, if you play this game, cheese the fuck out of it. Save state, rewind, use all of that, because it's the only way that you're going to have not a good time, but a time. So not a shit time.
So I was running out of time, so I decided to jump on my emulator and put in cheat codes to make him invincible. It did not improve the game at all. I still died a lot. And it's because of all the things that can kill you. Like I could hit an enemy fine and he wouldn't die, but if a rock fell or if he jumped on some spikes or fell off a cliff or like the fall damage, he would die. And it was like, wow, I can't even make this game fun by cheating.
Yeah. It's like invincibility.
It's just irredeemably bad. It is one of the worst games I think I've ever played in my life. And if you remember that scene from Billy Madison where, we're all stupider for having listened to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all sadder for having played this game.
I got no joy. And listen, I know I kicked off during Echo the Dolphin, but at least like there were parts of that game I enjoyed. But
if you put a gun to my head and said you can play Echo the Dolphin for the rest of your life, or you play this once more, I would go play Echo the Dolphin for the rest of my life.
I can't argue. It's just I've never played a game with controls this fucking bad.
I think I got a lot of the same vibe from this as I got from Echo. Now, I think Echo is the better game, but just as far as like unnecessarily difficult and control-wise terrible, like really hard to be intentional with where you want to go. Because you could like look, if you press down on the controller, he'll squat, and then you can kind of like look down and you can see, because there are some areas where you have to like jump down onto a small platform, and good luck, because he might come to a full stop and stick the landing and then just decide to like take 2 steps and walk off, if you're not paying attention for like a split second. But there's also like a lot of blind jumps and just like, I don't know, like jumps where he'd barely make it, and I would rewind and be like, okay, so like, am I not intended to make that jump, or does he not jump that far? And I would try a few different times in a few different ways, and it's like, okay, finally I made it. So clearly, like, we are meant to jump from this platform to this platform, but he barely makes it, and it's very inconsistent, I don't know all of the, obviously don't know all the details of what goes into the programming of like the physics engine of the game, but it's like it kind of seems like there's a randomizer built into it. It's like, yeah, maybe you'll make it, maybe you won't. Like
Yeah. Who
that's
knows?
the
Roll the
fun.
dice.
But that's the thing. You play a game like Mario or Sonic, you understand the physics of the character
Yes.
so that you know how much speed you need to get to make that jump.
Yeah.
This guy can't keep consistent physics. He can't keep consistent speed. Like if you jump to move faster, because walking is a no-go until you start running, and then when you're running, you're going too fast. So you just hop around the whole level just to go at some sort of consistent speed,
Mm-hmm.
but you never get any momentum that way. So you have to figure out how to run or how far for him to run to make any given jump, and it's tedious, to be honest.
Yeah.
Right, and
I mean,
there's-
that hover helps sometimes with getting across gaps, but it's just it's one of those games where you find yourself just feathering the controller and just moving a little bit
Yes.
forward. What's going to come in from the side of the screen and mess me up this time? Yeah, what am I going to run into if I go too fast? And it's just like, that is no fun. That is no fun playing. I mean, imagine you're playing Mario and you're not allowed to hold down the run button and just in case, or you're playing Sonic and you have to literally crawl just a little bit further to make sure nothing kills you instantly. So that's not a fun way to play a game.
Right. Like I've heard that criticism leveled at Sonic too, where it's like, the game wants you to go fast, but it prevents you from going fast. And I'd hear that more for Sonic
Yeah, it was
1
Brian.
than like yeah. This like Bubsy is worse for that in all cases. Like
Oh
at
yeah,
least like
I take back what I said about Sonic. By the way,
this is
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
this is truly the game that wants you to go fast and punishes you
Yeah.
for it.
Oh, big time.
like I get what Sonic was doing, but Sonic was still predictable. I could still figure out like how to get enough speed to go where I wanted to go, or if I ran into a wall, I backtracked it back to the beginning and I know exactly where to jump so I can actually keep that speed up.
Yeah.
But this game, not happening. Like, no. And then you got those stupid power-ups. Like, you got the shirt with the number that gives you a 1-up, and they're all over the place.
Oh, you need them.
Everywhere.
You need them.
So, you
Yeah.
have a ton of them. Then you have the black shirt, which is Blackface Bubsy, or Shadow Bubsy, as Emmanuel calls it.
Blackface Bubsy,
And then you
Jesus.
have the flashing t-shirt, which is Super Bubsy. So the black t-shirt, it goes so that the bad guys can't see you, and the flashing Super Bubsy t-shirt is you're invincible for a while. And even those don't really help this game that much.
No.
Right.
I mean, they can get you past some
Like-
tricky sections, especially like the black shirt where you can basically just bypass enemies, which is fun. I mean, and they last a fairly decent amount of time, like fair enough. But
Yeah, okay.
you've still got to deal with, and they only last once. So when you come out of that, you die. You have to go right back to the last checkpoint, and now it's gone, and so you have to deal with it again. And it kind of becomes pointless when you can't actually use it to progress.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing I noticed is a lot of stuff disappears when you die because you've already collected it, and this game is brutal for that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
at least the
Yeah.
enemies don't come back too, but I don't know.
That is true,
I'd,
actually, and
I
that's
would rather the enemies come back if the power-ups came back.
I don't know.
okay.
I think, I mean, you've only got a few lives and a continue. I don't know, 3 continues or something like that, unless you can find more. And I don't think I found a single other continue in this entire game. And I know that they're there. I could see them. I just
Yeah.
wasn't going through the rigmarole that was going to take me to whatever secret area had these continues in, because it's just like, no, I just want to get to the end of the level, because it does give you those extra lives, but you will burn through them so quickly, and you will burn through all of your continues, and then you just have to start the level all over again with that password. And yeah, I mean, okay, that is the one bone that the game throws you, is that you get through 3 or 4 stages per level, and then you'll get a password, and you're just like, at that point, you're just like, I'm putting this down, and I'm just going to walk away for a bit because I've got that password. I don't need to play this anymore. And that's how I was doing it. I was just doing it in chunks. Just get to that next password and then just put it down, because honestly, I don't think I've felt rage like this playing a game before.
Yeah, there's something special about it. It really tickles that friggin' rage button on the back of your head. I think I made it probably halfway through the first level before I started flipping out at the game. Like I like to, bark like a dog but actually do nothing. This one I actually slammed my controller down on my desk and I was just like, "Oh no, this is breaking my precious controller."
is-
And I
yeah.
turned it off like you did. Cuz there's no way I'm breaking my nice 8-bit controller just over Bubsy.
Oh
just
yeah,
saying,
could you
God
imagine? Like it sucks,
damn.
and then yeah.
It
I
ruins your
I think I went into it knowing that having the reputation preceded it, so I was like, yeah, this one kind of sucks. So, and I kind of did that same thing with Echo, though. Echo pissed me off more because I let it. This one I was just like, I know it's bad. I'm going into it knowing that I'm gonna make heavy use of this rewind and save state feature and just kind of play enough of the game to kind of just experience it and understand it, but I'm not getting too into it.
See,
that's where we differ because I knew of this game's bad reputation, but I've never actually looked into it. So my first thought was this is just like a mediocre platform
Yeah.
that people are
Yeah.
upset because it tries to be Mario. And then I started playing and I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. This game is literal trash. Like, it's garbage. And you want to know the most garbage thing of all is they have a level called Canada. They're shitting on my country.
do you know? Is there any like you played that level? Yeah. Is there
I played
anything?
it for about 5 minutes, got insulted, and wrote to the president of Canada.
Well, I hope he does something about it. But is there anything in that level that is even remotely Canadian, aside from like
Beavers.
are beavers even Canadian? Like, okay, fair enough. Beavers.
Well, it's our national animal, but I guess.
I mean, it's just like it bears no. If that is what Canada is like, Brian, then I have a whole new respect for your commute to college
Yeah,
because that's some fuckery.
This is what I'm going to show people that I don't want to come to Canada that say they're going to come visit. Like, hey, the Bubsy represents it perfectly. And they'll be like, no, thank you.
Or that's
it's
the
like
new ad
this.
campaign, like Canada as seen in Bubsy.
Yeah.
Come
You're going to
visit.
fall into the water every 5 minutes and drown. There are floating platforms, but don't go on those because, that's the worst part of the level. There are flumes everywhere that will literally just fling you off to your death.
No.
Oh.
I got to read the comic beginning again, which is going to be painful, but I thought he got abducted and brought back to their planet.
I don't know. Do you know what? I didn't do that much research into this game.
And then-
no, he was
surprisingly.
ejected. Never mind.
And then Earth was like,
Much like
keep
the
'em.
cartridge out of a Super Nintendo, he was ejected immediately.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, tell you what, those aliens are smarter than I was by a long way.
Even they couldn't stand him.
Oh, I don't know. I was like, and we're drawing comparisons to things like Echo the Dolphin and stuff like that, which I admit is a hard game, and people shit on it. But I feel like that was intentionally difficult, and the bullshit sections were intentional. Whereas this game, it just feels like a mission. It just feels like it's they set out to try and make a game that's going to compete with your Sonic and Mario's, but they had no fucking idea how to do it. And
this is a video game that a kid who got bullied in high school found out that his bully likes video games, so he made this so that his bully would have to play it.
You see, I didn't actually know about this game's reputation such as it is. I'd heard of Bubsy, and I had it has its likers, it has its haters, and I was just like, well, okay, how bad can it be for a start? And I just expected a a mediocre platformer. And I was thinking, you know what? All I know about the Bubsy franchise is that Bubsy Claws Encounter of the Third Kind is better than Bubsy 3D, which begs the question: how fucking bad is Bubsy 3D?
Yeah,
If you have your quick play choice, you can let Alan find out.
Brian, I will brave Canada to come and kick you in the nuts.
Canada's pretty
Don't make
dangerous
promises you
by
can't keep.
if going off of Bubsy,
It took me so long to get through that level. I'm not even joking. And
we have so much yarn in Canada, though, and our trees are basically pencils for some reason.
we have so much yarn.
yeah. And let's talk about the yarn, because that's the main collectible in the game.
Which serves honestly no purpose. So, you get 100 yarn, you get a life or something.
so.
But the whole point is
500.
score.
500 yarn.
That's too many.
5 fucking 100. gets you an extra life.
But then that is the other question. If the yarn is just there for nothing, why couldn't it be like a health bar? Get a few things of yarn and you knocked out like Sonic's rings or something.
100%.
I mean, it's already trying to be Sonic. Why not steal the entire mechanic?
I could not agree harder. Absolutely.
If they had stolen more of the mechanics of Sonic than they already did, it's like they tried to do that, but then did it poorly. So it was like, well, it's not as good as Sonic. Also, it's actively bad. So I don't know, just no redeeming qualities there.
I mean, it would have been so much more manageable. I mean, listen, the controls would have still been straight arse, but it would have been so much more manageable if all of this yarn, and there's a lot in these levels, if that acted as Sonic's rings, then you'd be having a whale of a time getting through these levels. And maybe that's why they didn't do it. Maybe they wanted to. It's that old thing about having a game that's too difficult to beat in a rental period. I don't know. But they made it too difficult to beat in a lifetime. And I know somebody's going to come at me and say, get good. And I got good. I beat this game. I'm never doing it again.
Yeah. It's not even a matter of getting good. It's just bad.
I bet you right now, if you played the game again, knowing everything you do about the game, you would not be able to beat it a second time.
Brian,
without struggles.
I would never. I wouldn't. I would sooner shit in my hands and clap than play this fucking game again. In point of fact, if you ever catch me playing this fucking game again, please do a welfare check, because I am not okay. Something has gone wrong.
Oh, that's amazing. I've never heard that. Shit in my hands and clap.
Now Sam's got it all pictured in there.
I don't know whether to laugh or cry.
I did have a mental image of that.
What can I say? Is there any redeeming quality to this game? Something that you can say that's nice about it, like it ended, or you only rented it for the weekend, just something that we don't end off all this with just absolute vitriol, and we have a little bit of nice stuff to say about it. So it sounds like we actually really are trying to give this game a fair shot.
I mean, we've got plenty more to shit on, but I guess from a certain angle, it's not the best looking game in the world, but it is bright and colourful. And if you didn't know better, you would think that this actually looks like quite a fun game.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
It's presented as a game that looks like it would be fun, but is not. And then, I mean, for as many times as you're gonna die, I would say I guess they gave Bubsy some. He's a fucking dumbass, but they gave him some personality, and at least
you can tell they were going for the mascot angle.
Yeah, they were.
They wanted to make him a Mario.
And the death animations are pretty funny. So you're going to be dying a lot, and those are kind of funny.
They lost their... the first few times, I was just like, every kind of death has a different animation. I was like, that's neat. They've put a bit of effort into that. And I guess they were just trying to dress up all the different ways that you can die in this game, because they knew full well that you were going to be seeing it a lot. And it's fun, but at the same time, it wears out its welcome very, very quickly, because he'll fall from a height and turn into a spring, or he'll shatter and turn into glass, all the while looking at me like it was somehow my fucking fault. And I just got so sick and tired. He's a good looking character as far as mascots go, anthropomorphic characters, fine, but I just wanted to boot his fucking face off by the end of the game.
When he stands still, he has this cocky look in his face, an undeserved cockiness.
Yeah.
Like he's doing something amazing, and it irks me in a way that I can't describe, because just this arrogant look on his face, I just want to slap it off him.
Yeah.
And this is where he fails to me as a mascot, is because there's no way I could relate to him or feel as if he's like the underdog or the hero of a story, because he just seems like an arrogant asshole.
Yeah, I can agree with that. He's just...
Fuck him.
Fuck him. He's, I don't know, just that shit-eating grin, and just...
But Yeah.
The fourth wall breaking thing is again funny at first,
I hate that.
but it's just, do you know what? It got to the end of the game, and it's literally the last level where you get to the spaceship, and he does this little thing where he does this blurb, just does this little catchphrase before each level, and on the very last level, bear in mind that to get to the spaceship, you've got to play through 3 levels of the jungle first, which is just straight up horseshit. And just like Echo the Dolphin, it does that thing that I hate, where the last level does not give you the password. Now, obviously, if it does not have a password, that violates my save state rule, so I cannot save state. So I have to go back each and every time and play through the jungle just to get to this last level. And what does this little fucker say on the last title screen? Oh, you're still playing this thing? I'm just like, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. I'm going to put you in a bag and fucking
that should
drown
literally
you.
be on the first level after you die the first time.
I know, right? You plugged this thing in?
Okay. So I haven't said anything nice about it yet because I tried to and it didn't go well. I am going to praise the graphics on this game. Like you said, it's very colorful, but it's also very detailed, like surprisingly detailed. That is probably the only highlight. That's probably the thing that if I saw it in a Nintendo Power and I couldn't read, and I was only going off the pictures, I probably would have picked this game up as a rental just to give it a shot. For thusly quitting video games forever.
Right.
Almost made it through that saying nice stuff.
You did well. Like 99.9% was gleaming. Yeah, that's true. Like the first time I put this game on, I have to admit, I just thought, wow, this is a nice looking game. It's
good animations.
Yeah, good animations. It looks like a cartoon. It looks,
which is like impressive considering that you got some other games there that are cartoons that look stiff.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Or just very, very badly animated. Like looking at Boogerman, which also looked like a cartoon, but I didn't love the character animations. Like this moves like a cartoon. And I played the Super Nintendo version, and I've always been very biased where it comes to visuals. And I don't mean this to sound disparaging in any way, but this on the Super Nintendo looked like a Mega Drive game, and I mean that complimentary because I've always just felt that Mega Drive looks slightly better, if that makes any sense. So it does look very, very nice is what I'm trying to say. It looks like it has blast. It looks like it has blast processing.
Oh, that makes sense. I got that vibe. It did kind of feel like not a good Sega game, but like it kind of had that Sega feel to it.
It feels like it belongs on Sega. That way, nobody had to play it. It is on Sega, believe it or not.
Yeah,
it is.
Right?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys didn't get away from it either.
No, no, that shit went everywhere. And it's up to us to clean it up.
What happens when you shit in your hands and clap? Didn't think about that one, did you?
Well done.
All right, what about the music of the game? Like, I think I played this game mostly on mute because his voice was annoying me, but what do you guys think of the music? Is any redeeming quality, or is it just there to irritate you?
It's not. It doesn't do much. I mean,
no.
It was annoying to the point where, like you guys, I turned it off. I didn't really care to hear it. It was just kind of a like goofy, cartoony sounding tune that would just kind of like repeat a little bit too often for my liking. It's just like
didn't it?
Yeah.
Was the loop was like fairly no. It's not a problem having music that loops, but when you're having it loop that often, like I'm instantly brought to mind of the Wild West stage, and it just felt like that music was just the same thing, like not even a 30-second, like a 15-second loop over and over and over.
Right.
And
it's just like the loop wasn't long enough. I mean, the music wasn't great to begin with, but the loop also wasn't long enough for levels that are actually relatively long.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that just makes it all the more noticeable.
Yeah. Plus add to that you're probably dying all the time.
The sound. I'm looking at the soundtrack right now just because I have to download it anyways. But, the music is actually impressively long. Like, they must loop inside their own tracks, but they're about 2.5 to 4 minutes long depending on the track.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't
I
seem
just
like
don't.
it.
How they fucked that up, I have no
Right.
idea.
I mean, maybe it loops. Maybe it loops every 2 minutes, but like within that 2 minutes, there's just a lot of repetitive musical phrasing that just isn't fun to listen
Yeah.
to.
And it gets really frustrating because you're dying so often and having to replay these levels. Like every one of these levels just took hours and hours to get through, of just practicing and remembering where all the bullshit was and just fighting with the controls. And it just got to the point where especially on Wild West, I actually went into the options and just turned the music off.
Mm-hmm.
And that I never do that.
You'll be happy to know that the composer for this had done Bubsy and Claw's Counter of the Third Kind, something in Spanish, and then something called Mario's Game Gallery.
Mario's Game
Interesting.
Gallery? What the
What
fuck
was
is
Game
that?
Gallery? That's not.
I have no idea, but those are the only three. Looks like it's just a bunch of board games with the Mario theme.
I have
Oh,
never heard of that before in my life. What is that?
Yeah, well,
MS-DOS, okay.
oh, it's a computer game.
yeah. So
all right.
he's only done three things, and he went on a big hiatus from 1995 to 2021. So, lo and behold, this man did not make a career out of this,
No,
and he didn't even get invited back to Bubsy 3D.
I might, against all better judgment, I might have to at least dip my toe in Bubsy 3D, because call it a morbid curiosity, but I just have to know how it's worse than this.
I know it's like driving by a car accident. You have to slow down just to check it out because you don't want to see death, but at the same time, you kind of do. So I'm also a little bit curious about.
I
Bubsy
died
3D.
a little. I died a little playing this, so there you go. And this is getting a re-release.
I think this game was so bad that it actually was hampering my enjoyment of Mouse PI.
Oh,
Because I
really?
would play this and I'd go to Mouse PI and I'd be like, I just don't feel like playing video games anymore. And I would just turn off Mouse PI. And then after I said I'm not playing Bubsy anymore, I've been just cooking on Mouse PI. So I think this game literally kills your desire to play video games. If you're trying to break a habit, play Bubsy.
yeah.
You will not play anything else.
You'll read a
I'm
book.
I'm playing too many video games, and it's like, no, now I'm playing no video games because I played the worst one ever.
Well, there you are. So everything is up from here. Did you guys take a swing at any of the bosses? You must have done.
Well, you mean the
Oh yeah,
yarn UFOs?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
basically the same
basically-
boss in
Yeah,
every
A
stage.
couple of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
The Wild West one there where it drops all the little dudes in space helmets and
Oh,
uh,
did you beat that?
yeah, I got to Canada.
Oh yeah, of course you did. That one just had me stuck for so long, because by the time you get to it, you've got so few lives left, and there is a checkpoint just before it. But there is just so much shit going on around the screen, and I guess if I have to find something nice to say, very little slowdown. So
Well, it was on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Slowdown was pretty much dead by that
I
point.
guess, but there is a lot going on at any given time, so there is that going for it. And I just found that, especially for the later bosses, you really had to use that glide, because the glide can be used as an offensive weapon if it
Oh,
decides
I
it
did
wants
not
to
know
work.
that. Yeah, I didn't either.
So you can literally glide into enemies, and it basically counts as a hit, assuming that you've hit the very, very particular side of Bubsy. Otherwise, obviously, you'll just die. But it got to the point that if you just jump and glide into these enemies, you will ricochet back, and as long as you're holding that button, you can glide around the screen and usually get quite a few hits on the enemies before you touch down again. And that, I found, is literally the only way to beat these bosses, especially the final boss, which is either the easiest thing in the world or completely impossible, depending on which way the physics of the game decides to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't play
So-
the final boss, but I had a lot of trouble with the one where you're on I think it's Canada, where you're
It
on
is,
a
yeah.
raft, and
That's-
you have to you have to jump up to kind of hit it, and it doesn't always you don't always make it far enough up to actually hit the thing, or you end up dying because it's, again, one hit kill. So it's like every time you jump to try to, and the bosses aren't always vulnerable. So it's like a standard saucer shaped UFO with like a yarn ball on top. And then every now and then, the only time you can hit it is when like the yarn ball does like a little animation where face comes out. So like you have to time it to where you're like jumping basically at or past Bubsy's capacity to jump. And maybe you'll hit it, maybe you won't, because if you don't time it just right, then you didn't jump on it when the face was out or whatever. You can kind of hop on the top of it, but good luck trying to keep them up there. I don't know.
That's where
sucks.
that glide comes in. And I tell you what,
then I couldn't I didn't know that you could even do that. Not that it would have helped.
Like,
you could just bounce back and forth.
How does Bubsy glide?
I don't know.
He just opens his arm. He's a cat. If you throw a cat out of a building, it's not going to glide to the ground.
Do you know what? I don't even need to do the science on that to know that that's accurate. I don't need any testing whatsoever.
Meet me in the lab, boys.
Go down to the Retrotopia labs. Shit. Now we've got Peter on us. That's no good. It just no. I mean, I guess he had to do something. You could level the same argument at like, how can a hedgehog like run fast or do a spin dash? So I'm just like, okay,
Right.
I can kind of ignore that.
I suppose, but I want to be angry.
I know, but he has to do something. And the game does an incredibly poor job of like telling you that that's an offensive weapon, and maybe it's in the manual. I don't know.
Isn't there at the beginning of the game, if you let the menu sit for a bit, it goes through kind of a tutorial. It shows you what you can and can't do.
If it did, then I am very upset with myself for not seeing that.
I missed it.
Well, yeah, everybody's so excited to play it though that nobody sits around and waits for the intro. They just jump right into the game, right?
Or everyone's just like, for fuck's sake, get me back to the password screen. Let me try this shit again.
If I finish this, Mom will let me out of my room.
It's been 41 years.
I just don't see how anyone like. Of course, there are people that like Alan. You finished it.
I did. It did.
I like how you keep bringing that up, and it's almost as if it's an insult.
No, but I mean, like,
do you know what? That's fair. I took no joy out of this victory. Like
good on you for
Alan,
finishing
you finished it, and you also punch kittens.
Yes, I do in my spare time, and now bobcats are getting added to that list.
Yeah, I just don't understand how like one gets good at this game, because it's just not fun to play.
It's just pure pig-headed repetition.
I think the only way that you might like this game or have any sort of fondness for it, if it were just like one of those games that you just kind of had as a kid. And so like, obviously, like not every game that we had was good, and we have fondness for games that aren't good because we have nostalgia for them, or we played them enough that we you kind of fall backwards into liking something. I think that's kind of where this one lands. Like, I think that's really the only way that you could possibly like it. It's like this. Yeah, it's like a face only a mother could love, or whatever. It's like you'd only like this if you owned it.
Yeah, I was gonna say you really have to have the patience of a kid to be able to play this game, and not just a kid like a '90s kid that only had like one game a year, and you had to wait till his birthday to get another one. That's how you would finish this game. But I was looking up a video just now, and there is like a tutorial section at the beginning that kind of goes through all the mechanics of the game.
Fuck's sake.
But so far, it hasn't really talked about attacking. It's going over all the shirts, and it is very slow. I'm already 2 minutes into the video, and I haven't learned anything.
And who's going to sit through that, really?
Somebody who wants to play the game and beat it. Or somebody who hates themselves, and instead of whipping themselves to punish themselves, they just watch this tutorial.
I'm going to choose the whip next time.
It is a very specific skill set to get good at this game, because, I mean, it's just so... You have to account for so many different random feeling variables. Like, am I going to jump and is he going to behave like this, or is he going to do something completely different?
That's it. You have to unlearn how you've learned to play video games in the past.
Right.
You gotta have patience, because when he jumps, unlike most characters, he doesn't move forward when he lands. He comes to a complete stop, and then you start the process of gaining momentum again. I'm watching the video, and this is the thing that I forgot about was, yeah, as you are moving, like you're jumping around because it's the quicker way to move early on in the game, but every time he lands, he stops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's why he feels like he's sandbagged. Like he's just this heavy as shit character that can't move around because it's just bad gameplay. Like, let him have some forward momentum. Like, unless he has a banana peel, then you slip on those stupid banana peels.
Oh yeah.
And all of a sudden you can't stop. And it's just like, what was the point of that? And they put him in a crate, and the crates are supposed to be for good stuff.
It's not only that, it's just
Fucking
that you'll
game.
you'll just find random shit, like, there are pipes, just random holes, pipes in the levels that you can go down and collect lots of fun shit. Or there are some that will just lead to a septic tank, and it's just like there is no clear way of defining which one's which. Like, this game does everything in its power to just fuck you over, and it's horrible. It's horrible. And I could see this being a game that sorry, Sam. I can see this being a game that maybe a parent just, oh, just look at that cute little cat game, that looks fun and harmless, and I'll buy that for little Timmy there, and that'll be a fun game for him to play, not realizing that she is now bringing up a future fucking psychopath.
You're right.
This is a game I'd buy for an orphanage if I was trying to close the orphanage down.
Jesus.
No.
Anyways, I don't really have anything else to say. I've been kind of like trying to stretch this out a little bit longer, and I think I'm kind of killing the momentum, and we just don't have our normal excitement we do for games that we've been, we've just went on a streak of games we really like. So
the streak has to end at some point.
I think it's about time to wrap this up if you guys are ready.
Yeah.
Wait, Sam, did you have something that I just interrupted you?
Oh no, I kind of lost my train of thought, but I think it was just more ragging on the same. Like, I don't know. It had something
Sam,
to do with jumping. I don't know. Whatever. He sucks at jumping.
Why don't you unload that rage now as you wrap up the game and give it a high score?
Yeah, sure.
8.
Yeah, I think what I was going to say about jumping is like being able to rewind and try different things to try to make jumps or to try to land where you need to or jump over something. Just kind of goes to show how odd the physics are. I think there's just like a lot of variables. Like if you're moving and you jump on, forward momentum plus like jumping by, this pixel perfect, area or whatever. And sometimes like the platforms do the thing in Sonic where they're not, like Mario is very flat plane or like angular. Sonic has a little bit of contour to and that's kind of why like Sonic can go fast, is because like all of those surfaces are contoured, and so they're built for like running or jumping off at certain angles to make jumps, or getting the right type of momentum to fling yourself like up or at an angle to like achieve, like find different places or explore the levels. And this game just like doesn't do that well. Everything just works against, actively works against you having a good time playing it. It tries to do, too many things without actually, I guess, doing any of them successfully. Like if you want to call this more of a Mario type animal platformer, or not Mario, Sonic type, animal platformer, like, yeah, I think it has more in common with Sonic than it would a Mario, but it's just bad. Like we mentioned, collecting the yarn, like, cool, you can collect all the yarn you want, but you have to collect 500 of these freaking yarn balls to get a free life. And I mean, you're going to be dying constantly. So between, trying as hard as you can to collect as many of these yarn balls and these t-shirts with the one on them, like, I don't know, what a boring one-up, like, kind of item or icon. It's just like a blank white t-shirt with the number 1 on it. Like, couldn't even be like Bubsy's face or anything. Like, I don't know. I don't want to look at Bubsy's face either. So whatever. I don't know. Boss fights are just so dumb. I guess there was a some sort of a float that you could do that I didn't figure out. Maybe that would have made it a little easier, but still, even so, even getting that initial jump on the enemy is difficult in itself because he's not always jumping as high as you want him to. The hitboxes are kind of weird. I don't know. I mean, it's all stuff that we've said before. I don't even know what to give this game. I'm gonna give it like a 2. It's really not fun.
Woo.
I guess like there were redeeming qualities, like the graphics we liked or were pretty good. It's not even that I like the graphics or the aesthetic. It's just that they're passable. It's probably the best thing about the game. The death animations are fun. It's just like after a while, it's like, all right, now I'm just annoyed that I'm dying so much, and I don't care. So yeah, it's not good. Don't play it. Don't go out of your way to play it. I mean, it's on Switch Online, so if you already have it, like you really want to see how bad it is, just play a couple levels. But that's all you really need to get the gist of this game.
Save yourself the grief.
Exactly.
2 out of 10 from Sam. Alan, do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, you see, I was one of those people who went out of my way to get it, and now it's sitting on my shelf, just stinking up the place.
Right.
So that lesson learned. I will be checking NSO like a fucking hawk next time, just to make sure that something is or isn't on there. I mean, you know what? I'm not usually this guy, and I have no idea how this episode is going to come off because I just couldn't contain my rage any longer about this game. Like, I did not have any amount of fun playing this. This was a slog. It was a chore. I mean, beyond my initial impressions that this game, and it does still look good. It is bright, it is colourful, it is cartoony. Like, I can see what they were going for here. They were trying to get that mascot platformer dollar, and they created a character that, at least on the face of it, it's just like, okay, I can see it's an animal, an animal mascot. That's a thing, and you took a swing. And had I not had the miserable experience playing the game, I might actually like Bubsy as a character. The fourth wall breaking, the quips and everything like that, kind of dated in 2026, but I can see how that was the cool thing in the 90s. That's kind of how the style was at the time. And then you actually play the game and you fight with these broken controls, and you just crawl across the level because you can't go too slow, you can't go too fast, you can't jump on that thing, except there's nowhere else to jump, so you kind of have to. But then the physics kicks in and just decides to throw you to your death. Or there are all these blind jumps that almost invariably, unless you're fucking psychic and you can jump to this tiny little platform somewhere half a mile off screen, you are literally just going to fall to your death again. It just felt like the developers did everything in their power to just stop your joy just as it was getting started. Oh, you're building up a head of steam. I'm going to put a cactus right there because that will really fuck with you. And I'm just going over old ground again. The music sucked. I'm sorry. Wasn't anything to write home about. The bosses, just the same thing over and over again. There was no creativity. It was just flying saucers doing something slightly different this time, but not enough to differentiate themselves. There was more enemies bouncing around, so great. It's now even less enjoyable than the last time. And yeah, a broken hitbox. Just, I'm done. It's God, can I go as low as a 0.5?
You can go as low as you want, baby.
I can't in good conscience give it a 0 because there are not redeeming features, but there are some features like the visuals, like the password system, which, as you all know, I do like a nice short password system. And let me tell you, I could probably, if I think hard enough, remember some of the passwords to this game because I had to put them in so many times. Do you know what? Fuck it. I'll give it 0.5. I hated this game.
Go off, man.
Alan's scraping the bottom for this one. All right. So we got Sam at a 2, Alan at a 0.5. I'm going to wrap it up, and then we're going to wrap up this whole episode. I'm going to start with the graphics because that is the highlight of the game. It is not bad to look at. It is a few beers in and she starts looking prettier kind of a game. And you can be easily tricked into thinking this is going to be fun based on the graphics. It's cartoony. The animations are well done. Sam nailed it. The deaths animations are plentiful because you're going to see them a lot. I'm not a big fan of the fourth wall breaking aspect, but that's just me. I've never been a huge fan. Even with Deadpool, I kind of waver on it, but I don't know. That one does it kind of better. I guess that would be my only positives of this game is that we've been super negative, and for reason, because this game, like I said, he feels like he has a sandbag in his ass, and when you try to jump, it halts all forward momentum. If you're running, you get too much momentum, and you have to have this period of acceleration. It's not like Sonic where it's like 4 steps and then you're into a run. This one feels like you're half a kilometer or half a mile, whichever unit you want to use, and he's still just getting up to speed. It's slow, it's draggy, it's like a force is pulling you back, and it does this shift when you do get up to speed that it pushes the Bubsy, the character, to the left side of the screen, the left third of the screen, so you can see what's ahead of you, and that still doesn't help you avoid stuff. And that's the biggest problem of this game is there's a lot of things that you want to avoid or you try to avoid, and you just simply cannot. You jump on it, it hurts you. You touch it on the side, and it hurts you. And as soon as you get hit, you're dead. And I hate that mechanic. I hate the one-hit kill mechanic because it means you have to be perfect. And God knows I'm not perfect. Between that, I guess I just have to say, like, outside of the shitty music, there's no redeeming quality of this game. I shouldn't say outside of the shitty music. I say with the shitty music, there's no really redeeming quality of this game. And I see why people dunk on it so hard all the time. And, like, I think it was Alan who said there has to be people with nostalgia on this, or maybe it was you, Sam. I apologize. But I don't know why. Like, I saw this game when I was a kid. The box art never enticed me. And that was basically how I made decisions was if the box art was pretty, I would take the game home from the rental place. And I think I don't ever remember seeing this one rented. It was the if nothing else is available game. And even then, you might just ask to go home. So overall, I think the biggest problem with this game is it's just not fun. There is nothing enjoyable about it. You find yourself frustrated from the get-go all the way up to the point where you decide to turn it off 10 minutes later. It is a constant battle to push forward in this game, and the mechanics are the biggest thing. And the fact that the level design is very sporadic, I find. There's nothing that really guides you to anywhere in the level. You enter a door, you end up in another part of the level, you enter that same door again, and all of a sudden you're in a bonus level for some reason. And then you come out of that bonus level by falling through the, open floor, and you land at a random part of the map. And it's constantly like that. The game has a lot of work to do just to be terrible. So I'm with Alan. Like, I am completely with Alan on this with the 0.5. I might even go lower. I might even go 0.25 because, like I said, I think this game, just by playing it, ruined my enjoyment of another game that I'm otherwise enjoying now that I've stopped playing Bubsy. So I'm going to really go low on the 0.25 on this one.
Just had to outdo me, didn't you?
I couldn't let you score it lower than me. I was going to match you, but then I was just like, no, because I've never stopped a game in the middle of it. I almost contacted you guys and say, pick another game, but you said you'd finished it. And I was like, I couldn't do that to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. So I just constantly, sporadically tried to play this game. I would sit down and try to get 10 minutes into it, and I would just get angry, and I'm just like, I am done. I cannot do it, and I will never. And I swear to God, I will torch this entire show to the ground if you force me to play it again. I will never play it again.
Not unreasonable.
Period.
And here I was thinking, like, while I was giving my story, like, I thought I was being really mean. And it deserves it. But then half of me was thinking, well, Sam scored it higher. So I wonder if that's on me. Like my pig-headed resistance to using save states and shit like that. Would I have had a better time with it if I was save stating and rewinding? Maybe that's why I'm being so hard on it. But there you go, I mean, you did all that shit, right?
I even used the invincibility on RetroArch, and it didn't improve the game.
There you go.
It wasn't the fact that it was hard. It's the fact that it was clunky hard.
Yeah.
It was not that I couldn't progress through the game. It's the fact it was the sandbag effect where I couldn't get him to move in the way I wanted to. It just felt like I was dragging him through the level, and it just ruined it for me.
I mean, I like a hard game. As long as the rules are consistent. And you know what? If I'm playing a hard game and I'm dying consistently, but the game is telling me, you know what? Do you know what? That is on me. That's my fault. I just need to get better at doing this. I've got no issue with it. No issue whatsoever. I like the Castlevania games, which you could argue have gotten easier and easier as time has gone on. But it's just like, if a game works and is enjoyable, like the difficulty doesn't bother me. Like I will bash my head against that wall to get through it and come out the other side saying, you know what, I'm battered and bruised, but I had a fun ride. I can't say that about this one.
The reason I never dunk on Dark Souls for being hard is because the game is intentionally hard, and you're going into it knowing that.
Yeah.
This game isn't intentionally hard, it's just really bad controls.
Jesus, you brought up Dark Souls now, and that's probably retro enough, so...
Yeah. Well, that at least, like Brian said, you're going into it, and Alan, you made a good point, the rules are consistent. Even if it's hard, at least the rules are consistent. In this,
it's on you. Yeah.
Yeah, there doesn't really seem to be any consistency with how the platforming behaves in this game, and that just sucks. I mean, now when I'm thinking about it, it's I almost want to go back and 2 is too generous. I'd dial it back to a 1 or a 1.5, to be honest. I'm rethinking it, and as I'm thinking about it more, it's it just, when a game is not fun for any reason, that's not good.
No.
Actively, I'm not having fun.
And I think that probably puts it lower than Cool Borders.
Lower than Cool Borders?
Across the board.
Okay, boys, what should you rather play again, this or Cool Borders? Let's go for the hard hitting.
I guess Cool Borders, because as frustrating as Cool Borders was, at least it's.
It did not make me angry.
Well.
A run of Cool Borders.
It doesn't even control well.
Right. I don't know.
I guess it made me a little bit angry.
All right. Third option: a hot branding iron to your testicles with the words "Joe" on them.
Again? Oh, I guess so.
I mean, I'll take the. I'll play whatever. Fucking Bubsy, I guess.
No Joe on your nuts.
No, I guess I'd play Bubsy.
All right.
If those were my choices, I think I would play Bubsy.
Well, that's a terrible choice, Sam, and you're going to have to be brought into HR for that.
All
one.
right. Well, sorry.
So that's going to do it for another episode of Retrotopia. I like this game. I don't have anything funny to say on my outro. So until next time, check us out wherever you get your show. Don't forget to join the Patreon if you want to join in on all the fun. Thank you for listening, Sam, Alan, as always. Until next time, good night.
Hi there, everyone. We here at Retrotopia couldn't do what we do without the support of our Patreons. And to that effect, we would like to shout out the heroes at our hero tier. So a huge Retrotopia thank you from all of the hosts here to The Fletchman, Kakarina of Tim, Schnitzel, Peter Brukers, Isaias, Ryan Semke, Guy Who Does Things, Joe Frigger, Shadowblaze511, Dan Torma, Brian Heng, Sharkbite, Brian Spritzer, Ovinderly, Shane's World, Brother Retro, H, Raging Demon, Old Man Gamer, Game Genius, Dylan Jacobson, The Big Deal, Mr. Blobbert Blobbertstein, King Hooley III, Calin Higas, Radmac, Fallen Snow Kiku, Stud Still Smash, Sergeant Ombre, Big Brown Dog, Jack Datchler, Unbuckled Cape, Wildcard, Super Dave, Sir Bustsalot, Big Kid 782, David Hendley, Chris Kaplane, J Nasty 15, Because 19, Randy Berridge, Makeshift Money, and Andrew Wright. So thanks as always for your support, guys. It truly means the world to us and means we can keep doing this little thing that we love so much. Game on.